up guys, welcome back to another photo review Wednesday. Today I have these images here. I think there's 10 images that you sent to my email address that's right here in the description. Keep sending them, and I'm going to be trying to make a video every Wednesday trying to give you a little bit more information about not only stock but also photography in general. Photo reviews are touchy because these photos mean a lot to you, but that don't mean anything to me. So I'm gonna go by the technical aspects, the camera settings, and see if we could do anything to help you improve your photography and maybe generate some sales. So let's dive right in with this one. All right, so the first photo, Canon 7D Mark II 70-200 2.8, and the photo looks great. It's nice and sharp. It's got good focus. I don't see any logos in the back. It looks beautiful image. I think this would do great for stock. If anything, I would bring the camera down so she's not right in the middle. Just a stronger composition would be something like that, I think, personally. But no, the photo itself is good. It looks like you know what you're doing. Let me check the settings here. 1/25 of a second, ISO 200 f8. F8 is perfect for portraits, especially when you have a soft background, because it gives you texture, it gives you detail. Most of the time we try to go 2.8 or 1.4, whatever we have to blur the background. In this case, you don't have to. You got a solid faded background and the image is beautiful. You did a fantastic job with this portrait. I would try it for stock. Like I said, the only thing I would change is the composition, but I think you're doing a fantastic job. Next. Okay, the next photo is 4 seconds, ISO 100 f8. That looks cool wherever this is. That looks beautiful. I like that building is right through the middle. Even though it's 4 second, everything looks good. I would say that would be a yes for me. 7D Mark II with a Tokina lens. That is a great photo. Now let me just go here and do a little bit of tweaks when it comes to white balance. And maybe a little bit more contrast, bringing back some of the whites to get everything to pop just a little bit. And I'm gonna take down the vibrance because the blue is starting to look not blue. But I think this is a beautiful location and a beautiful setup. So this is my edit. I just brightened it up a little bit and made it just pop a little bit more. I think that would be easier to find in a grid, and that would help you sell the photo. I like the composition. You got the leading lines, the trail. There's people walking the trail. They're a little bit blurred because it's a 4 second exposure, but it leads right up to there. It leads to the middle of the photo where you go right through the opening. Great job. I would just tweak a little bit your processing to get the image to pop a little bit more. Next. Ooh, nice. So this is a gun made in the USA. Fire safe. It's got the safety on. It looks good, especially right now with all the talks about guns and everything else. Things like this should be selling. Do more and more if you can. Try different angles, different compositions, looking down the barrel, looking from behind, that's the shooter. If it has any logos, you have to take those out or do it as a editorial. I see that here it says STR, so that would have to be removed. I don't know much about guns, so I don't know if that's a logo or a name or something. This has the number 8 here. Just a little bit of maybe even the made in USA, so nobody can identify the gun. So just take care of the logos. Something like Lightroom makes it super easy with the Band-Aid tool, and just going in at 400%, I can select the Band-Aid, and then I myself can select the area to sample from to make it a little bit smoother transition. But like that, you don't know that there was anything there. We could do the same thing here with the STR and just remove as much as you can so that the gun is not identifiable. 6 seconds, ISO 100 f7, great settings. I like the photo. Let's move on to the next. It looks like 2 nurses talking to each other. I mean, this is the type of photos that were selling a lot last year and the year before. It's missing a little bit of contrast or something. It looks a little flat. Let me just add contrast and make it a little bit bright and just bring up some of that brightness. The whites. ISO 125, ISO 200, 1/25 of a second at 2.2. I like the concept, how they're looking at each other talking. The crop, I think, would be better if we bring her eyes there. I think that makes a stronger image. I know that's more me than most. I just like having the eyes on the upper third of the image. It just gives it a stronger feel, and now it's like you're at their level when you're looking at the photo instead of having the eyes in the middle. That happens a lot because you just have your middle point focus set on your camera and then you just focus and take the photo. But if you use one of the upper focus points, then it's going to make you compose in a different way. But I think the photo is good. Let me look at the camera. 7D Mark II, 35 millimeter. Like I said, it's a good photo. I just work a little bit more on the composition and the processing to make the image pop a little bit. Next. All right, so the next photo is this portrait, Canon M200 15-45, ISO 200 1500 f5.6. So the photo looks a little bit bright. You can see there's blown out highlights, and that's from the sun on her face. But it's a good image. As far as composition, again, she's in the middle. The eyes are in the middle. I would like to see something like that, where you keep the subject on the thirds, and it just, you know, a little bit more pleasing composition, and it's easier to use because you don't have the blown out sky here in the background. Let's try to recover some of the highlights. I know this is a JPEG and I'm not going to be able to do that, but let's bring it down a little bit. It also looks a little bit warm. Let me tone it down just a little bit and show you guys the before and after. A little contrast makes it pop a little bit more. I brought down the highlights and then just cooled the temperature down a little bit in the photo. You don't have to do this. This is just I like tweaking things. Settings look good. Camera looks fine. Now I know you have a 3.5 to 6.3, so the more you zoom, the smaller your aperture gets. So that's why this was shot of f5.6. Just keep practicing with the composition and a little bit in the processing. You get what I'm saying. Just keep practicing. Images like this tend to sell. Just keep doing more and more. We need more numbers to be able to sell more photos. But you're doing good. Next photo. The next photo, ISO 100 f9, 3/20th of a second. The same camera, M200 15-45. So the first thing I'll say is that the horizon is tilted. That's a no-no for stock. We need to straighten it. And when I straighten it, I lose the mountain. So composition was not right from the start. And this is something you gotta be really careful, especially when you have an ocean or a lake and you can see the horizon. Other than that, the photo is fine. When you're shooting water like this, there's nothing really happening. So it's a beautiful landscape. But you need something happening. You could write on the waves 2024 or 2025, whatever. Just give it a concept, or somebody walking with the footprints being erased by the sand, the water. It needs a concept. The settings are fine. The photo is fine itself, and the composition is good. You got the lines. That line matches that line, and the color there and here are very similar. So that kind of ties the image together. But it needs a concept. As far as a landscape photo, like I said, it was just a little bit, horizon's crooked, and for stock, it's just missing that concept. But good job, and now let's move on to the next photo. Okay, this photo is from the same camera, Canon M200, same lens, and it looks fine. I know it's hard to get up close to somebody or ask them if you can take a photo, and even if they don't sign, you can still set it as editorial. It's a good image, but I think it could be improved by getting closer, or a telephoto lens to make the people look larger and be the major part of the frame and not the sky. But yeah, you're doing good. Keep practicing, and let's go to the next photo. All right, so this is the next photo. It's a 1 second exposure. Shutter priority. I don't know the camera. I think it's a Sony 28-200. I don't know why it's a 1 second. I don't think it's a 1 second, or the laugh would have been totally blurred. There's some logos that were not removed properly. Let me zoom in at 400% so you can see what I mean. There's logos here, there's logos there, another logo here. Somebody tried, but that is not a good logo removal job. And that is going to hurt the image. It's a good concept. The focus is good on her. The image looks a little bit small. That's a 100%. You went down. what happens when Bambi takes my desk over. Composition's fine. I like that the eyes are up in the thirds. And the photo itself looks good. It's just in the processing. When it comes to logos and all these things, be really careful. This really, it needs to be done properly. And you can see here in this shirt how there's shadows and lights, and it's just not, it just doesn't look sharp, and nobody's gonna buy the photo for that reason. It's gonna get rejected as technical issues. Next. All right, so this looks like the same hikers, maybe. It's the same camera, same hikers. And just as before, I noticed here there's a logo that it just gone, but not in a good way. There's a logo here in the hat that needs to be removed. There was one there in the background, in the backpack. That one's fine. But yeah, you need to do a little bit better job when it comes to removing logos. Maybe try Photoshop instead of only Lightroom. But the photo looks fine. I mean, the images like this would sell. You got travelers, you're looking at beautiful landscape, good composition, you're doing great. You just need a little bit of help when it comes to processing. I'm sure there's a lot of video tutorials on how to remove logos and how to do this. Just by shifting the camera over, you would have a much stronger composition leading to the mountains out there with them looking at everything here. But you're doing good. Like I said, just focus on the logo removal, and I think you would do great in stock. Next. All right, the next photo, and I know it looks blue here, that's just me with Lightroom, there's negative space here. These are other types of photos that sell. People doing things, people working, hands-on. To me, this is a very good photo. Let me look at settings. 1/80th of a second, ISO 250, f1.4, Canon 7D Mark II at 50 millimeters. If I go in at 100%, it looks sharp. It looks like the focus right here. The hand, the arm, it's got good lines, good composition. It is focused right in the center, but that's where your attention goes because that's what's happening. It looks good. Again, photos like this should sell. I do see some colors here. Maybe, no, that's paint on the hose. But you're doing good. This is a very good photo, very good stock photo. Try to get more of the people doing things. These tend to sell quite a bit. Next. Oh, wait, that's the last one. Again, guys, I'm going to try to make one of these videos every Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to send photos, there's a link right here in the video description. And I'll see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.